Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, what's new at FamilySearch. This is the 2025 version. So let's jump right in. We're going to cover a lot. We're going to talk about some facts about the site, a new partner site that we have, new fully released features, and some updated features. In addition, I just want to make a reflection here. At the beginning of the year, it felt like not much was going on because FamilySearch is actually a fairly mature website. Most of the major things that have been done to it have been done in the past. And it seemed like this year, or last year actually, 2024, after RootsTech, not much really went on for a long time. And then suddenly with the new year, things just started just blossoming. This is going to be the year, I think, of AI. There's just been a ton of artificial intelligence things that were released just recently. And so since there's so much here, we're not going to cover anything in depth. We're going to have to go fairly fast. We'll introduce it to you, and then you're going to have to figure out how to use it from there. But we'll give you a little background on the things that are new there, because even though some of us are in here a lot, it's easy to miss some of these new features. One thing that was interesting is on January 1st, they released their latest updated facts about the site. They now have over 13 billion historical records, and they're found on 8.5 billion images. Their book collection now is over 600,000. They have over 6,500 family search centers worldwide. That number just keeps growing. Monthly visits, I assume that means to the sites, not to the search centers themselves, is 23.6 million visitors a month, a little less than a million people or a million visits a day. Sources in tree are 3.9 billion, and the people in tree are 1.68 billion, which means there's a little over 2 sources for every person in tree, which means there's going to be a lot of people in tree that don't have any sources, and we need to try to rectify that. So anyway, that's how things are going number-wise. New partner site. Just recently, Storied.com was added to FamilySearch. And you may have never heard of Storied.com. It's really new. It just started in 2023 as a rebranding of World Archives. They're the people that hosted Newspaper Archives, which is actually one of the 3 largest sites online for newspapers. Annual cost to use this site and include the newspaper archive is $139 a year. And well, actually, for the newspaper archive, it's $139 a year. If you add Storied.com to it, it would come to $156 a year. And of course, with partner access, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints get this for free, which means you have yet another large newspaper archive that you can tap into through our partners. Okay, so what does Storied actually offer? They offer a personal tree, like Ancestry Tree, a tree that you develop yourself. You can produce stories for your ancestors. That's why it's called Storied.com, because this is their big feature. You can search for genealogical records through this site and also their newspaper collection and add this information to your tree. And the big thing that you're able to do is you're actually able to produce a book on your stories. You can turn your stories into actual books. And of course, it fosters family collaboration. I noticed when I pulled in my tree from FamilySearch and put it on Storied.com for the first 4 generations, it also brought over all the memories. And those were automatically attached to my people in the tree that I had over at Storied. So that's kind of an interesting feature. Okay, fully released experiments. We know we have these experiments that FamilySearch.org and their labs. Well, one of the fully released ones are the family group trees. This is a family group where you put together a living tree and you connect all your living people. And it's a special living tree in that these people, these living people that you put in there, if you make them part of the group, you'll be able to see each other and see each other's actual record. You know, as it is now, like if you're married to a living spouse, you have a record and tree, your spouse has a record and tree. You can't see their record, they can't see your record, so you have to create a duplicate. So there's actually now 4 of you so that you can each see the other person. With this family group tree, there'll be 1 record for each person that's in this living group, and everybody in the group will be able to see this record. It'll still be a private record, but it'll be public within the group. And this will allow you to work together and do some things that you normally haven't done in the past, such as share memories and milestones, and this will protect your privacy. And you, like I said, you can put like all your pictures of you and documents and stories and all these things. It'll only be shareable within the group. And then once you pass, when they make that record a living record and merge it in with any other records they have of you, it'll leave a legacy that's already been built for you, and people won't have to start from scratch to gather your memories and your sources and your documents and whatever, because it'll already be there. A great feature. So this is for families to see each other's information. It is designed to be okay to attach memories and sources to these living people because only the people within the group see it, as I said before. It's not used for reserving ordinances. Best to do that with a different family group. And it's not designed to be used with a group of people that aren't really related, because you need to create a tree that connects people together. And there's an outstanding Group Trees Learning Center over in the community, FamilySearch community, where you can get answers to your questions. This is where they want you to direct your questions about this group. Our family has one of these. It's really cool. Okay, another thing that was released fully this year is a companion tool called Together by FamilySearch, which is an app. And this app was designed specifically to be used together with these family group trees and the people that are in your living tree, so that you can share the information that you develop on this app with each other in the tree. Though you don't have to do that. If you don't have a family group tree, you can still make good use of this tool just by yourself by uploading the app, which of course is free, and then doing the activities that are there. The main features, the main things it wants you to be able to do is to capture life's moments. It's a way to help you to gather information about the things about you in life and share it with loved ones if you want. And then there are all kinds of activities that are connected through this app so that you don't have to go looking somewhere else to find them. I took some screenshots for the iOS version of this tool. You can find it both in Android and Apple. And so the app is found both ways. These are screenshots through Apple. So this is what it would look like for there. They have all these little links that you can go to for my favorites and things about me and my family, grandparents, vacations, and so on. And they have little things for you to do, and then it records your responses and saves them. So it's like you're writing portions of your life story or recollections of family members and things like this, and all of this is getting saved. Okay, you can include things like family vacations, and it will walk you through a series of like 3 or 4 just short prompts. You write about them. When you're finished, you save the activity and it's recorded for you. And it'll look like that third screenshot there. You also can work on your life story piece by piece. It will provide you with all kinds of prompts, and those are examples in the fourth one of different prompts. And then they have some activities where there's no writing involved. It'll just offer you a bunch of pictures of different things and say, what is your favorites? And it could be for your desserts or meats or vegetables or whatever. And it'll give you a chance to record that. And it's kind of fun to compare family members and what they all see as their favorites compared to the other people in the family. Another one that's not shown here, which I think would be cool, would be it has a place for you to record a little information about your grandparents and parents. And it would be cool in our family if we all recorded information about the four grandparents of our kids and then compared everybody's answers to see if they agree or if they remember totally different things or whatever. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can use this, and you can even create avatars for the family members. Okay, new or redesigned features. There were a lot of things that happened during last year. One of them was the relationship viewer was changed. And it used to be that it only went 15 generations up your tree and would come down 15 generations, and it would show relationships found within that parameter. The new viewer will actually find your direct ancestors all the way back to 200 AD, if your tree should happen to go back that far. And if you're looking for a cousin relationship, as long as the common ancestor, that would be the two people that are together at the top of this chart, if those people were born after 1500 AD, you'll be able, no matter how many generations it takes to get back there, you'll be able to see your relationship to the person you're trying to check out a relationship on. So this really expands it. The one thing you won't be able to do is if your common ancestor is beyond 1500, it's just going to say you're not related. And of course, you got to remember that you can be related to somebody many, many ways. The program will try to find the shortest path for that person and will obviously ignore the others. So you might be looking for a certain path for how you're related to this person. You may not get that. You may get a different one. And if there are multiple sets of parents, things like that happen to be cleaned up, make sure you've got the correct set marked as preferred, because it will always follow the preferred relationship path. And again, because it's using tree, it's only going to be as accurate as the tree is. And that's not anything that the program can deal with. That's something that you have to work on. So it's only good as the data. Data in, data out. Okay, there was now a new refreshed homepage. You may notice that it looks a little bit different. Some things have been moved around. You now have recent people viewed and hints up in the upper center column or left column. And underneath it now will be recent memories that other people have added. Instead of that being the feature thing, it's moved below and it's kind of on a scrolling ribbon. So it's not as intrusive on the page. Over on the right-hand side, you will have a search for an ancestor that you can use if you want to do some searching. So it's kind of like doing your search off of, the first page when you go into Ancestry or some of the other sites. So you now have a search engine right away. Underneath it is that portal for labs. So when we talk about lab activities, this is where you get to them off of your homepage. Underneath that's a to-do list, and underneath that's where they have moved helper function. They don't have the little helper lifesaver icon up above anymore. There are actually two catalogs. This may be new to some of you. On the bottom of the screen, you see the one you're familiar with. This is the one you find when you go to catalog on FamilySearch.org. It was actually locked over 2 years, almost 3 years ago now. Nothing's been added to it in all that time. It's good for searching for microfilm, because all the microfilms are still listed there. And so that would be where you would want to go if you're looking for, where can I view this microfilm? Is it viewable or is it not? Or what microfilms do you have? And so this is a good place for you to go to access that still. The other catalog is their new catalog. And I'm thinking because there's still two of them that they aren't finished working on the new catalog, but it can be accessed at that URL that I've got at the top of the screen, FamilySearch.org/en for English/library/our catalogs. It is called the new Family Search Library Catalog, where the other one is called the FamilySearch.org catalog. This library catalog is good for the digital holdings of Family Search, like all the new digital records that are coming in, the digital books, and things like that. So you've got two different catalogs you can work with. And you may have to learn to kind of use both sometimes if you're trying to find something, because one might find it better than the other one. Not a good situation, really, but it is what it is. So check that out at the URL that's at the top of the screen. Okay, new accounts now require an email as of the 3rd of February. They've had issues, and so they're allowing, mobile numbers are optional. Not all countries allow, mobile phones to be used as a source for linking things on the internet. And so they're now requiring any new accounts that come on, you're going to have an email. So beware of that when you're trying to help sign people up. I thought it's interesting. Excuse me, they said this is to reduce the number of account recovery issues and prepare users and accounts for future features. I have no idea what they're referring to. I guess we'll have to sit back and find out what that is all about when things unfold. But new accounts will require an email. Messaging turned to chat. In some respects, it didn't look like much went on there, but really this is a good move because now you get real-time notifications, immediate notifications if you've set it in your account to notify you right away. You'll be able to get immediate notifications. You can use it from anywhere on Family Search, where before you had to go to the messaging center. The chat can be on any page in Family Search. And the window itself can be resized and moved around so that you could have it on a page you're talking about with somebody else and move it around so that you can see things on that page that you want to talk about. And of course, because it's a chat, it has things like attachments and emojis and things like this that you can put on there. And so it's more like a regular ordinary chat is, and people are familiar with that. What they did is they eliminated some of the old messages and turned some of the newer messages from about 2022 on into chats, and you'll find them there, but you've lost your oldest ones if you were doing messaging back before 2022. And there's nothing you can do about that now because that's in the past. Okay, I found this and I thought this was exciting. This is an app that Family Search has put together, FamilySearch Africa app, and it's for people in Africa. And it is designed to help them with their unique situation in developing their genealogy. As you realize, they have very few records. They have a lot of oral records. Family Search has been gathering literally millions of oral genealogies, and they're going to be able to access those through this app and develop a tree from the information found in those oral genealogies or from their own knowledge. But this is designed specifically to work with people who live or whose family are from Africa. Right now, it's only available on Android from Google Play. I expect we'll see more like this from other parts of the world showing up soon, and I'm sure it'll be put over onto an Android device or onto iOS devices soon. Right now, this works on an Android. I thought very interesting. 3-star record hints were turned on. This is something now that you need to opt into. You go to settings, and then in the settings, you go down to where it has family tree preferences, and you turn on expand record hints. And then what happens is when you look at hints, you'll see situations like this. You'll have the original 4- and 5-star hints, which we've learned are usually pretty good, without any marks by them. And then you're going to start seeing the 3-star hints popping up with this weaker hint notice on them. And do pay attention to that, because many of them are not for the person you're trying to find. And so you will have to dismiss a lot of them, but many of them actually are accurate. It's just that it's harder for the system to feel comfortable matching those particular hints with the person you're looking at. So in the past, they've ignored them. So they say this is for experienced researchers, but anybody who knows how to work the system and knows how to evaluate hints can handle this, but it has to be turned on. If you never see it, it's because you haven't gone to your settings and set this expand record hints. Okay, tree integrity. This is the profile quality score. Originally, it had to be opted into. Now it's just there. It's only there for certain countries and certain time periods. And if your person has a score, it'll be found there under research help. It'll say quality score, and it'll say high, medium, or low. The big thing to remember is that's not an evaluation of who your ancestor was, not a good person or a low quality person. It just is talking about the data in their profile. And so in this case, my grandmother is marked as high. That doesn't mean that there is nothing that could be done to improve this or profile, because if you click on show quality details, it's going to give you a rundown of things you can do, if there's any, to make this profile even better. And so even though my grandmother's marked as high, there are 3 data completions, there are completeness things that need to be worked on, 5 source taggings that need to be done. In other words, 5 sources weren't tagged to anything. There's a couple of source consistencies, and there are no conflict-free data problems. And so it will go through there and it uses that information to develop the score. So apparently this didn't bounce my grandmother out of her high quality category, but it does show there's things to do. And this is something that a person could work on if they wanted something to do in tree and they didn't want to actually do research, because there's a lot of people for this. And like I said, it's not for every country and every time period. It's mainly 1700s through about 1920 that the records for people in that time period in certain countries are having this marked on there. And it's the amount of people and the time periods and the countries are growing. But at first they started with just like US and Canada. And now is a whole bunch of countries. I'm not even going to put them up on the screen. You can find that in the Help Center if you're interested. There's also an improved person change log. You know what the change log is. It's over on the person's page, and it'll say latest changes. And if there's more than the 3 that it can show, there'll be a show all button. And so this is something you have to turn on in labs. So you go to the improved person change log and turn it on when you're over in labs. And once you've done that, what'll happen is this is what the change log on a marriage looked like with the original setup. Okay, you see the change, but you'd have no idea what it was changed from. And so if you go, or to in some cases, and so if you go and turn on the improved person change log, what you'll get for many of the things in the list, not all of them, but for many of them, if it was a change from one to another, you're going to get to see what the previous value was and what it was changed to. So you get to see a little more of the history of what was going on with this person. Improved person change log. Just recently, back on the 12th, just a couple of weeks ago, they announced a new memory gallery. And so this is a view of the memory gallery. It looks a little bit different, not a lot, but a little bit different. It's been updated as to have a better look. They've added a memory add button, add memories button to it. The filtering and sorting that's here that we're not going to show you right now has been improved. Enhanced privacy features have been instigated. What happens now when you add a memory? It's going to say, do you want this to be private? Do you want it to be private for everybody, or private but viewable within a tree group? Or do you want it to be public? So you're going to have three choices every time you put a source in now, and that's because it's part of this new memory gallery. The one thing that got lost that I was able to find is that there's no longer an album slideshow where you create an album and then you can show it in a slideshow environment. I would imagine that will be coming back in. It's probably just something they weren't able to program correctly when they instigated this. But I assume that it will probably come back. I don't think that's something they're going to just do away with. Okay, newer experiments. Most of this is AI, but not this one. The first one is there's a new user-owned tree feature. They call it CTEs and CETs, excuse me. And this is something that's been wished for by many for a long time. There are some people that won't use the community tree because it's community and people can make changes to your tree and things like that. And so FamilySearch has finally opted into a environment that they've created that's like ancestry trees. People can upload their trees in there or build them in there, and they can be edited. We have always had genealogies where you could upload a GEDCOM, but once you put it in the genealogies, it was a static tree. Nothing could be done to it. These trees, the owner and anybody they trust to join them will be able to actually build the tree and manage it and make changes to it, add to it, and things like that. And it'll continue to work should the owner die, as long as there's other people that are set to be editors and users of the tree. Only the users of the tree will be able to see living people in the tree. Otherwise, if you go looking at somebody's CET tree, you're only going to see the deceased people that are in the tree. Record hints are displayed on your ancestors that are in there, and you can add the hints to them. It does not interface, it does not truly interface with the family tree, with the community family tree. You're not going to be able to move stuff back and forth between them. But it is designed to look like the FamilySearch tree. So you won't have any new design things that you're going to have to learn about. It'll operate the same. It can be synced with third-party genealogy products or by uploading a GEDCOM, but no direct linkage into the community tree. They're afraid, I think there'd be too many duplicates brought in that way. And so they're limiting that feature. Okay, there is a help chatbot. You have to be careful. There's a couple of different appear to be similar help chatbots. This one is designed to work with helping you to learn how to find things in the Help and Learning Center or at RootsTech or on FamilySearch Wiki or in the blog articles. In other words, it'll help you with your research or questions about the website. The way a chatbot works is you literally chat with the computer. It'll have a box where you put in a question and the chatbot provides you with an answer. Sounds like what we call searching or like Googling and things like that today. But that's what a chatbot is. And so this one is designed to work with those features that help you in your researching or in understanding how to use the FamilySearch site. Remember, this is found in the experiments in the FamilySearch lab. You have to turn it on and then you can use it. They also now have in the lab improved merge experience. And I've been doing a bunch of merging lately, and this is good. What they've done is they're trying to help us determine if the merge that we are trying to attempt is a good merge or not. And so what they do is they use AI to analyze the two people, and then they give you a recommendation like up here at the top. And in this case, for this particular merge, it said, merge not recommended. These two people have a high degree of inconsistency. Merging not recommended. Now, it doesn't stop you from doing it, but it's trying to help guide you. And so in this case, the people have totally different names. One's a Loper, one's a Wallace. Their birth dates are within a year of each other. One's a full date, another's a partial date. Their death dates are the same, but they're in different places. Those probably two different people that had a very similar life experience, but they're not the same. They're trying to say, please don't merge these two people unless there's something to do with a change of name situation that you can prove. Good feature. Another one that's great is the AI Research Assistant. And again, this is found in labs. You go to it and you click on Try It. What it tries to do is it has two different products, and one of them helps to try to just find random people in your tree where it thinks there's hints that will add people to the tree. And then another one, the other product, if you want to call it that, will be found on individuals' pages in tree, and you will be able to use it to help you find information about the person that you're looking at. Not necessarily to add people, maybe to find their birth or their death or marriage or children or things like that. And it will also suggest additional resources for this person. So what you do is you click Try It. This comes up saying this is your introduction to it. And then to actually use it, you say Start Experiment. And what happens is it then takes you to your home page, and this will be found now at the top of that left column. And what it is a group of 5 potential places in your tree with people that you're related to that they feel there's a person you can add. The first one adds a child, possibly. The second one, children. Third one, child. Fourth one, a spouse. And the fifth one, a spouse. Those people will not go away from this unless you either process the hint that is causing this to be generated or decline that hint and tell them that this is not a person, this is not a hint for this person. Once you process the hint, then that person goes away and a new one fills in the spot. So we'll just kind of show you what you do. We'll go to this very first one, Charles Ambrose Nomaker, and it's supposedly going to add a possible child. And you'll notice that since you're in this tool now, when you're on his page, you've got this experiment, AI Research Assistant experiment ribbon across above his brief life history. And over on the right, you're going to see a part of the chatbot where it's talking about add to your tree, this first product. And it's saying that down here is a source that supposedly will add somebody to this family. And it's from the 1950 census. And so the AI research assistant, this is the AI assistant column now that's on your page because it's being used. And it's telling me, I think we can add a Mildred C. Thompson to this family. Okay. And actually, when I went to look at that, I found that there were 3 people to add. There was this Mildred, and then there was her husband, Charles A., and a grandson, Charles E., that were all in on this page. And so on this census page, so I actually had 3 people I could add into tree instead of 1. And it does not make any difference between people born within 110 years and outside 110 years. So oftentimes you'll be adding in private people if you can't find that they're dead. Okay. And then as I did this, I put Mildred in, then I came to the situation where I had no death information on her. So I switched over to the second product, which is be on the person's home page, and then click open this experiment. And what it does is it gives me a chat box where I can ask a question. I can click on one of those pre-selected questions, or I can type my own. And since I didn't have one about died, I just typed in, when did Mildred die? And it took 11 seconds. I timed it, and it came back with the answer that she died in November of 1981, excuse me. And it tells me about where this is found and the source that it came from. This will be useful when it can find things for you and possibly speeding up your search. And I love that it always says you can make mistakes, make sure you double check. And that's so true. You always double check what they provide you. But that's essentially how this works. I didn't have to go out and research her. You notice the hints that were available didn't offer me death information, but it was able to find death information on her. Okay, and the information came from this particular source. It didn't even come from FamilySearch. It came from a tree found in the Allen County Public Library, of all places. So this bot had gone out on the internet searching. And this tree provided her Social Security death information with her death date. It's something I'd still need to search for and try to figure out why it doesn't come up on FamilySearch. It may be buried in all the various sources that were available for, but this is where it came from. So see, it goes beyond just FamilySearch. The one thing it can't do, though, is go behind the paywall, like at Ancestry, and search the records, the actual records at Ancestry, because they're behind the Ancestry paywall. Okay, so in the end result was I created 3 records with very little effort, and I did need to verify them. Okay, there's also a hint campaign out there right now, and it's found at familysearch.org/en/campaign/hints. And I would call this one just kind of a so-so one, because this is automatically generated every so often. And then people come along and start filling them in, but they don't go away right away. And some of the people will be people that were born inside the last 110 years. So you'll be looking at, people that normally would have been private that you could now add to tree if you want. So the situation, here's 3 of the people. This one was already attached. I assume it'll stay there till they review it and regenerate these hints again. This is what I want to look for, is where it says review record. And then I could go to Catherine's and see if I want to process this. These hints don't necessarily add people. They're just hints for these people. So I can click on review record. It'll bring up the source tracker. And in this case, after I did her and her husband, there was also apparently, this was a hint for a child that was born in 1883. Now, it could be that this child, but it says it's a son. It could be that that's George, but we don't know because there's no name on that record. So it's one of those things you got to be careful about. So I say these things can't get you into trouble. They're not always the best things for brand new people to do unless you train them to be cautious and not do things that they're not sure about. And because this one is tricky, I had to actually do research. And it turned out that this actually really was George, because the day and month on this matched the day and month on George. The only difference was the year was the difference. And so who knows where George's year came from. There's obviously an inconsistency, but I eventually merged the two of them based on that information. Okay, so if you like the things you saw today and would like to see more and may not be familiar with us, we have a channel at YouTube. It's called Fresno RootsTech Family Search Center Trainings. You can go there. If you click subscribe, you'll get notified every time a new one of these presentations is put out. You won't have to look to see when I did it because it'll come to you automatically. If you go to this, you'll be able to see our past presentations. I think this is number 86. It says 81 there, but this was a picture taken quite a while ago. I think we're up to close to 86 now. And so with that, I want to thank you for being here today, and hopefully we will be seeing you soon with others.